Hey, how you doing, my Intermodal family? Hey, I just wanted to reach out to you guys and let you know that the life of doing Intermodal can be very rewarding and it can be very challenging at the same time. So I just wanted to send you all a message of encouragement, actually, after being an owner operator myself and doing intermodal work. I've experienced the joys and some of the pains that comes along with intermodal, and I want to let you know that week by week it changes. There's going to be weeks you're going to have where you're going to be getting in and out of the ports, and you're going to be doing lots of loads, and then you're going to be having weeks where you're going to be stuck in that sucker for a couple of hours at a time each time you go. And I just want you to know that you got to encourage yourself, because don't throw in the towel at the first sign of danger. It's just the way it is when you're dealing with the ports. You're going to be able to make some really good income doing it, but when times seem like they're getting a little rough and you're getting slowed up at the port, or you're not getting as many loads as you are used to getting, don't give up. Hang in there, because you can weather any storm. I'm living proof of that. I used to do it. I'm not currently doing it anymore because I've pursued other interests in my life. But I will say this to those of you that are in this game, be in it for the long haul, because when I was doing it for years, I did make some really good income. And like I said, it's okay if one week is this way and the next week is this way. You just got to be able to hang in there. It's not a short-term job. It's a long-term job, and you're going to experience the highs and the lows and all the in between. But just hang in there, because it can be really rewarding. You're going to face some challenges every now and then, dealing with the ports and traffic, and the crane operators not coming when they're supposed to come, but just hang in there and encourage yourself, because intermodal is a great way to make some extra income.
Can you talk about the issues you had with the chassis, when you had to look for a chassis?
Well, if I can say one thing about when it comes to chassis, it's better that you have your own. I would go with a 20/40 foot chassis personally, because that way, when you don't have your own chassis and you've got to find a chassis in the port, some of those chassis aren't quality chassis, and the ones that are sometimes very scarce to find, and you could waste a lot of time in the port trying to find just a chassis, whether it be a 20 foot, 40 foot, 45 foot. So like I said, most loads you're going to run are going to be either 20s or 40s. 45 foots are sometimes, but I would try to purchase my own chassis and a 20/40 combo. That way you can pick up the 20s, you can pick up the 40s with no problem.
Can you talk about when they had the load too heavy for you? How did you deal with that when the load was too heavy and it wasn't the weight that you were told by the freight broker?
Refuse the load, because if you get pulled over with a load that's overweight and you don't have the overweight permit for that load, you're going to get a big ticket for that. Okay, so it's not worth the headache. So I wouldn't, I would always check the weight of that load that you're going to run for whatever company you're going to run it for. And if it's overweight, just refuse the load, because it's not worth getting a deal, having DOT pull you over and make a good day become a bad day just like that.
Did you have that happen a lot, where the loads were too heavy from brokers?
Yes, it happens quite a bit, because brokers aren't always aware of the actual weight of the load. So they may send you a delivery order and that weight may say 40,000 pounds. Okay, well, when you get to the port, the actual weight, it's really 60,000 pounds. So you have to be sure, you have to do your research and make sure that you're picking up a load that chassis can handle, and your truck for that matter, because one thing you don't want to do is tear up your transmission trying to pull an overweight load, and or even getting pulled over by DOT which can be a heavy fine for being overweight.
Did you do better by keeping your chassis for getting it daily or keeping it for the full month? What would you suggest if you have to rent a chassis?
Well, if you have to rent a chassis, I would just hold on to that chassis. Pay your invoices weekly because they'll add up. You don't want to fall behind, and make a small bill a big bill when it comes. So just pay your chassis weekly, and I would hold on to it because, like I said before, going to the ports, they're not the best chassis most of the time, and they can be very scarce, and you can waste a lot of time in that port just trying to find one.
Do you check the chassis before you leave the port? How do you go about doing that so you don't take a bad chassis out of the port?
Well, you just have to check it. You check your tires, check the air pressure, check the tread on them, check your lights, check all your hoses, your wires. You have to check your chassis just like you would check your truck when you started up or before you started up. You would do a pre-trip, a thorough pre-trip, just like you would on your own truck.
Do you do a post-trip as well when you get done?
Yes, you should. Yes, you should do a post-trip as well because you don't want to come in to work the next day, and because you failed to do a post-trip, you realize you got 2 flat tires. Okay, so now you're going to be delayed starting, and let's just say you had a certain time you had to be at a certain company. Okay, well now you're probably not going to make it because now you got to call someone, a mobile mechanic to come and fix